Okay, I'd like to acknowledge that Brian is not running for his seat, and I'd like to thank him for 3 years of service on the board.
Thank you. Yeah, it was my pleasure.
And I was pleased that you contributed all the time when you did, and your presence was appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
And since you brought up the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm going to let you lead it for the last time. Go for it,
Not the
Brian.
last time.
Here.
Okay. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Joanne, we have a couple of sets of minutes for tonight, if I'm looking at things correctly.
So we do, we have January 23rd,
Okay,
that was in your packet.
So let's start with January 23rd minutes, please. Anybody have any corrections to the minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion of the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes.
Abstain.
One abstention. And we have minutes from February the 13th, which is the meeting we just completed. Now, they were only on the table tonight. If ever anybody wishes to wait for the next meeting, so I have a chance to read them, that's fine with me. I'll ask the board for their pleasure. Okay, we're going to put them off till the next meeting.
We asked Gail to do these minutes, and she was agreeable, just because Patty's like...
Is Gail going to be able to do them, or this was a one-time thing with Gail?
Well, she may do maybe 2 or 3 more, but that's probably it.
Who's that's probably?
Gail did that set of minutes.
Okay, so what is the plan for minutes then? Because I was at the planning office the other day to sign a plan or something, and Patty was doing 3 sets of minutes. Now, that's a lot more than she can do
She's
based
getting
on her.
bogged down like really badly, because she's also doing zoning board minutes.
So do we have a report from the Board of Selectmen as to what's happening with minutes from our select board representative? Do we have someone coming on board to do minutes, or how are we doing this?
Derek
Okay.
told Patty that he had interviewed some people and that he was going to call them and see if they were still interested.
Oh, so they're breaking down to hire somebody. They've decided that AI and trying to supplement isn't going to work. Okay.
That's too bad.
Patty's sitting at her computer listening to the meetings and writing the minutes down old-fashioned way.
Oh, my word.
Well, typing.
Poor Patty.
Well,
Yeah.
But still, it's a lot of work.
that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I would like, Joanne, I'd like you to follow up with the Board of Selectmen and try to give us an update at our next meeting, if you would, please.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have nothing on corn spot as an action item, so we'll move right to new business. Joanne, please. Map 6, Lot 35.
So we have an informational meeting for MAP 6, Lot 35, which is for the Hillsborough County Farm, Hillsborough County Facilities, I guess you'd call it, not farm.
Complex.
Regarding removal of a barn and construction of an 8,756 square foot office building with a conference room, which will be, UNH Cooperative Extension will be housing that building. And then they're also doing some work to the Bouchard building where they're renovating the interior to expand the space that the sheriff's office will be using. So they're going up on the 2nd floor and they're taking over the space that was previously used by the county extension. We have tonight with us Chad Monier and his son and Scott Slattery, who is part of Cooperative Extension. I don't know if you know Scott, but he's been working with the town on economic development for a while. And so they are going to just explain what it is that they're doing over there.
And so just to be clear for everybody, including the audience, this is what we classify as a governmental hearing, where we have the opportunity to review the plans and make comments, but we do not have the authority to tell them what to do with their facility, as it is a governmental institution. So it's a courtesy for them to meet with the board and to provide us with an overview of what's going. If we have comments or concerns, we can relay them to the commissioners via Chad and, I'm sorry, what's your first name again?
Scott.
Scott. And they will either listen to us or they will choose to ignore us and move on. So at this time, I'd like to invite you both to come up to the table, and for the record, clearly and slowly state your names so that when the interpreter has to write them down, they'll be able to get it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Chad Monier, and I am the County Administrator for Hillsborough County.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Scott Slattery. That's S as in Sam, Lattery. I'm the County Office Administrator for the University of New Hampshire's Cooperative Extension.
Thank you both, and thank you for coming in. Please proceed.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, I'll give you a little history on the project and how we are and where we are and why we are sitting before you. And if going on too long, please let me know. So back before the COVID pandemic, the county really started to look at capital infrastructure. That was something that we hadn't been able to do in a number of years. Now, we have a site in Goffstown, 329 Mass Road, that is known as the County Complex. Out of that is, and when I refer to that on the map,
Maybe I can back up.
that's pretty much the county complex there. We have the Bouchard Building, which is right here. That started out as the Alms House back in 1894. This Bouchard Building and this administrative building are the only two buildings left from the 1894 original construction. In 2004, the Bouchard Building was renovated and county operations consolidated there. The Bouchard Building houses the county delegation office and legal counsel, our computer information system department, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's main office, the Commissioner's Office of Administration and Finance, and we also provide space for the UNH Cooperative Extension. That's all on the first floor. On the second floor, we have leased space to the 9th Circuit Court, Goffstown District. That predominantly takes up about 3/4 of the space upstairs. There is a vacant section of that upstairs, which is on the west end, this right here, which I'll get to in a bit. So right before the pandemic, we started to take a look at infrastructure. We've had a number of things on the property that really needed to update. The COVID-19 pandemic really highlighted some inefficiencies within the operations of that building. For one thing, at one point we had almost the entire sheriff's office out, just due to the close proximity that they work. They work predominantly out of this section right here. Sorry, Scott. This section right here in the middle of the building, when you walk up the entrance, that's where the sheriff's office currently is. So after the pandemic and we started to know, okay, there needs to be some better efficiencies here. Of course, a lot of the municipalities in New Hampshire received American Rescue Plan Act funds. The county was a recipient of approximately $81,0217.
Approximately.
Yeah, approximately.
You didn't tell me how many cents you got.
Yeah.
No sense.
sense.
No sense. I will say that. And the county, as you know, Goffstown received it as well. You have two deadlines you have to abide by. By December 31st, 2024, all funds needed to be obligated. And by December 31st, 2026, all funds and projects that are funded need to be completed and the last check sent. Anything left after that, that is going to be going back to the feds. Anything that you didn't obligate before December 31st, 2024, also would be going back to Treasury. So one of the first projects we looked at was back in 2022 when we received this money. Putting our brainstorming hats on, we said, okay, would the governing bodies give us $3.5 million for renovating the upstairs? Now, of course, the governing body said, well, where'd you get that number? And it was just that. It was a best guess. And they said, well, let's do it this way. We'll give you funds for an architect and go out, get plans, get cost estimates, and then come back to us. So they gave us allocated money out of the ARPA funds to secure a architect, which we did. We went out to bid, we engaged the services of Tenant Goucher, who was out of Bedford, now out of Manchester. And he and the county spent the next 13 months coming up and drafting plans for this project. Once in June, we got those plans, still preliminary at that point, but June of 2024, we also received cost estimates, and we went to the governing bodies, the Board of Commissioners, the Hillsborough County Executive Committee, and the Hillsborough County Delegation, because we do have statutes very specific to this process for us. And we said, okay, here are the plans, here are the cost estimates. Do you approve of this project? And they did. So we went out to bid to secure a construction management services vendor, which we did in December of 2024, just meeting that obligation date. And then they applied for the permits, and we started having discussions with the town. So we are here before you today. I can talk some specifics on the project if you'd like to hear, unless...
I think if you can provide us with a general overview
Absolutely.
of the building renovation
Yep.
portion, the new building portion of it. The renovation portion for the sheriffs is not anything we're concerned with because it doesn't involve a new structure or any changes, physical changes to the footprint of your property.
Yep.
We just would like to hear what you're going to do with the old, I don't know, was it the cow barn? No, the cow barn's the big barn, isn't it?
We have this big, we call it the big barn. This was
It was-
before my tenure.
Okay.
The big barn, and there's a small connection to the cow barn.
Okay, so it's the cow barn
It
that
is
you're
the-
talking about.
The cow barn, yes. Very quickly, just internally, the sheriff's office will be moving to occupy this entire upper floor as well as the bottom, and that's where UNH currently resides. So we had to find a place for UNH. So what was determined was we have this cow barn right here, which is approximately 8,670 feet. And originally what we wanted to do was retain that cow barn as is and just build offices in it. As the engineers came in, they determined there would be a lot more extensive work needed to keep it. So what they are going to do is demolish it, keep it, and build it on the same slab and have it look predominantly exactly the same. I don't know if you can see this, but this is pretty much a 3D rendering of what the building will look like. The only difference is just a new main entrance right here. It's approximately less than 90 square feet that this will be expanding on. The connector between the cow barn and the big barn, I don't know when that was built. They were built as separate buildings, but there was a connector, all wood, not brick like the other two buildings are. That's being taken down as it's not even utilized. We usually don't use that to go in between the buildings. So they will be building it. It'll look pretty much the same, and we are putting UNH Cooperative Extension in there. They'll have offices and a conference room. There's not going to be any new programs added, any new employees added. The same activities on the county property will be the exact same after the construction. There's not going to be any new entrance and exits required of the property, and you'll see that this says parking expansion. All that really is that is currently a gravel parking lot that we use. It's just going to be paved over and have parking designated stripes laid down.
So I was reading the reports and I saw that there was a question from Public Works regarding some drainage features. Have you and
Yes.
Public Works had conversations about this?
Yes.
If I can let Public Works speak if you like, or you can.
No, absolutely.
Yes, so the original plans, which might be the ones that you have in front of you, I don't know which ones Patty printed for us all. Yeah, so the ones that Patty printed,
Or October 23rd of 24.
yeah, so on sheet 2, which is the drainage and utility plan, you can see the proposed bioretention pond has an outlet that goes beyond the county's property, and it has like a riprap. That's actually, I think, like a 3-to-1 slope right there down there to the rail trail, and that they were armoring it with riprap. So that was town property. So I pointed that out. That they were basically they're changing where the water goes today, which if you look kind of in the corner, it's hard to see, but so I explained to them that they would have needed an easement to do this, and I wanted to see like flow calcs and everything, and then they came back with
The revised plan?
with the revised plan, which I could show you. They kick it back this way. Here, let's just show this. And
Is
this
it
is
one
an
of the
existing
sheets up
riprap
there?
downspout that goes to a swale along the
Sheet
side of the
two.
trail.
Look at for sheet 2.
It's on
Yeah,
the right-hand side, on
On-
the
I think that,
bottom corner.
can I ask a question then, Chad? You may or may not know the answer. When that piece of the rail trail was repaired,
It's the next sheet.
Yeah, no, I got it. It won't flip over so you can see it, so I was just gonna.
when the rail trail was repaired way back, about 8 years ago behind the county farm, I worked down there with the rail trail committee a little bit to try to work with them. And there's a spot there in the slope where all the water from that gravel parking lot used to go over the edge. And it was armored with riprap, and it
that's
was,
where
It's
it's
the
going.
next
That's where
one.
they're directing it with this
That's
revision.
that's a site plan, detailed site plan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the next one.
I was
Yeah,
just going
sorry.
to second sheet.
so there was an existing flow, and it was pretty serious, and the rail trail was able to accept it, but it was
So,
detrimental to the rail trail.
yeah, so what I did was then I asked
Yeah, that should
their
stay. That's what I
engineer
think.
That's it.
to, well, that's not the email I brought with me. Because I didn't see a drainage report, so I asked them, no, I brought my own email that I had printed, and I can't find it.
Well, the only thing I would ask, did you,
So what it was the 50-year storm, in the existing condition would send basically 4.79 cubic feet per second of water down that riprap downspout. Now in the new design, the 50-year storm will send 0.13 cubic feet of water. So they significantly reduced the flow to that one spot. Basically, the pond's retaining most of it. Now, they didn't do an analysis of the 100-year, so I don't know what happens, but they are still, I want to say they were like 0.3 below the overflow of the pond for the 50-year. So I think it's a significant improvement to the site runoff from what it's doing today.
was any effort made to discharge the water onto your own property?
That's a great question, and I've looked at a lot of plans throughout this process, and a lot of, I have a legal background. This stuff is legalese, I think, in some instance. So, all I do know, when I received that question, my first thought was, why is any being directed towards Goffstown property? We have quite a bit of property. I forwarded on your questions, which I'm assuming you've spoken directly with the engineers.
I just received an email with some of their program output
Yeah.
that answered my question. So we didn't have much back and forth.
As the landowner, I would expect that we would do everything, engaging with the architects and engineers, that it would mitigate any concerns with the Goffstown Rail Trail. As mentioned, we have quite a bit of property
Why
that,
isn't it just running the other way?
well, this is relatively new, and again, I couldn't read these plans to save my life when it comes to this.
It's a
So-
long way, I think, is probably why the designer decided to do this. But if they don't have plans for that stretch, because if you move east along the property, there's a large ravine that then goes under a stone culvert under the rail trail. If you could get the water to there, it's probably, I mean, that's where it's going today, but it follows the edge of the rail trail.
Right.
It's a very shallow swale along the edge of the rail trail. So if you could find another way to do that through a shallow, like some type of overflow from your pond to a long, shallow swale, I mean, I would prefer that over this.
I did speak with our architect probably 3 hours before, or this afternoon, and we both questioned the design choice at present, so.
It's easy.
Say that again?
It's easy.
Yes, so we're just gonna do whatever we need to do to mitigate.
Yeah, and we can work
any
through
of
that
this.
during
Yeah,
construction even. It can
Yeah.
be something that you work with your contractor, we can.
Absolutely.
You know, you can talk with our office
Yep.
and we can.
We're
figure
back,
something.
we're back to handshaking here, Scott. We don't have any authority to tell them to do anything. We're
Well,
asking them to consider.
I'll be
Well,
honest
I
with
actually
you.
think if they're discharging it onto Goffstown property, we probably do have some say on it.
Oh, sorry, man.
That's fine.
No, that's okay.
I
We
would-
kind of just talk around here. so-
I'd like to
to.
avoid having to come to you for permission with anything, extra hoops. If we can just keep everything out of the town's land.
I mean,
and
those
just-
of us who know your
County
property,
land?
most of us who know your property from driving by 4 or 5 times a day for the last 20 years,
Right, yeah,
know that the garden, the prisoner's garden is
Yep.
directly below there.
yeah.
And if it's going to be .14 or whatever that.
1-3.
One small numbers, you could just put your riprap and discharge it into the prisoner's garden and let it flow over towards the road, and then it'll run down the edge of the road all the way down to the ravine just by natural course.
Yeah,
So it's really simple.
I would think, given that your measurement is also only the 50-year storm versus the 100-year storm, it would be a much better plan to have it go to the existing culvert and down
Yes.
the ravine. Because
Well, that's-
a lot of the discharge could be diffused.
And we appreciate you listening to us on that.
Oh, no, absolutely. When I heard easement, I was like, I don't want to do that. So, no offense, you know, why go through that process and why have anything discharged onto, you know, town land that could potentially have any erosion? You know, we don't want to be responsible for that at all,
Yeah.
so.
So that's a change, if you guys could work it out.
Yeah,
And show, and
happy to-
just show Public Works what you're doing.
Happy to keep you
We
guys.
would be pleased to hear that
in the
from
loop.
Scott that you are helping us out.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Please?
I understand that you're essentially paving the parking area.
Yep.
Because it's closer to the entrance now for UNH Cooperative. Is that why? Because you're gonna be maintaining that in the winter? I mean, I've sort of, I was thinking initially, well, the sheriffs will park in the new spot, and I'm like, no, they won't, because
Yeah,
they're
they'll be
still
on
in
the
the old
outside.
building.
Right.
So, really, you're just, I mean, how many people are working at UNH every day? The extension, I'm sort of like, we're putting in this big parking thing, and it looks like that's what it's for.
When the court has certain days where, I don't know their schedule, but on certain days, the parking is jam-packed. We utilize that.
14.
Yes, so I had actually.
So you think it's part of an existing need?
Yes, I've asked in the budget request a couple of years, about 2 to 3 fiscal years ago, to actually pave that before this was even a dream. Because it's utilized a lot, and it gets chewed up, we have to keep it plowed. It gets chewed up pretty well on that, but it was a significant cost at the time, and we didn't want to raise the operational budget that much.
It's actually a benefit to us, Barbara, because that parking lot is sloped and drains to the rail trail presently, and it goes down that waterway.
So it could send silt that
And-
way with it not being paved.
And you do have minor erosion, which always ends up in wherever the water's going, which ends up in the ditch line down on the rail trail, which is a maintenance item for the rail trail. So paving it and running it through these bioretention systems and structures is an actual benefit to the environment, doing it this way.
I have resigned myself after years on this board that there is a benefit to paving, so I'm not disputing that. As much as I didn't want to think that, I have been convinced.
Do any other board members have anything else? Or Chad, would you like to add anything else at this time?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. On a personal, just a personal comment, if I may, I feel like a full circle of life. I remember it being my son's age, sitting in here in the Board of Selectmen meetings when my dad was chief, and I'm just
Phil might have been
happy-
here then.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
was, certainly. And I'm just happy to have the opportunity. It's a school vacation, and I figured, hey, come learn what Dad does. I'm sure I'll get the comment, you're still a nerd, Dad, but that's okay. So I appreciate that. And as we, truly, as we really started to focus on capital infrastructure in the county, that hasn't happened in a number of years. And we have done with some of the ARPA funds, we did engage with a vendor to look at internal needs of all departments. So much less this project, I really feel like there's going to be hopefully some positive movement on the county's land when it comes to capital improvements in the near future. So happy to be good neighbors and keep the planning board and the town informed as we move forward.
You're not gonna build on those mountain bike trails across the street, are you?
No, not there. No.
We as a board recommended probably 10 years ago or more for a zoning article to change your zoning from agricultural to RSBO2, is that correct, what it is now?
I think it's CIFC.
CIFZ.
Yeah, it was part of that
Yes.
whole.
We were
track.
hoping to see some development from the county's angle to possibly see some tax-paying people come into town through leased land possibly, or building renovations of your buildings, and then we would be able to see tax revenue from interior
Yes.
work. So we were hoping we were gonna see some of these come. We're happy to see the cooperative getting a new building, but down the road, it was one of our goals by changing the zoning to try to promote our own tax base here in town.
Or heaven forbid, a police station.
No,
I have a lot.
that's another subject for another day.
I have a last question.
I have some more too, but you
Oh,
go
all right,
first.
no, you go ahead, because mine are probably not directly related.
Okay, I contacted the sewer superintendent from the sewer department, and I asked him what the status of sewer was on this site, and he told me that the sewer is collected, and it goes into a pump, and then it pumps up into the town sewer system out on Mass Road. So you do not handle your own sewerage on site, you pump to the town's
I
line.
do know we have a pump station, but I'm not as
where it
familiar with
goes.
the mechanics.
So you have some new sewer lines that are gonna be installed from the existing Bouchard building, I guess, somewhere in that vicinity, to the proposed new construction. Be aware that the sewer department will need to be inspecting any underground lines that are installed there, even though they are on your property. Because the sewer department takes wastewater from everyone that's on the system, they still inspect any lines that are installed in the ground for proper pitch and installation practices and long-term life, that they're installed correctly and they're gonna last for years and years. So please make an effort to contact the sewer department when your site contractor is going to do the sewer connection to the proposed new building.
Absolutely.
And what is the present use of the last building out front of the original 1800 building? Is that empty at this time?
That is empty at the time. We call that the administrative building. Yeah,
But you're
that
not
is-
using it?
There's no current use for that. That is one of the areas we were looking at. We actually explored it to see if it would be appropriate for the sheriff's office at the time, but just the layout is not, so it is currently empty. There hasn't been any further discussion on that building at this
Just wondered
time.
about it, that's all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Barbara?
What's your son's name?
This is Jack.
Jack,
Yeah.
nice to meet you. Do you have any questions for us now that what did your father tell you he was dragging you to? I want to know what he said about us.
Wasn't really.
Ah, he's
Good
hiding
things, Jack. All good things,
something.
remember?
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us?
Not really.
Okay.
Good civics lesson.
Yeah, yeah.
It's school
Glad you
vacation
could take
week,
part in the
so,
process.
yes.
It's a learning experience.
It does, yeah. It does leave an impression, I will say that. Yeah,
That's
All right.
sure know.
Anybody else have anything? Did you have anything to add, sir, Scott?
No, I mean, obviously, this is a county project, and we're so appreciative of being able to be moved in. We're kind of fractured within this complex now, where we're in one wing of the building, and then the next wing down is where what we call the education center, where most people know Extension from the Grow It Green. That's based out of that. So we think it's gonna be much more efficient and a lot more productive to be together and not be kind of split within the building itself. So we're really appreciative of the county, considering making this investment, in the university and our relationship, with Hillsborough County. And then also our relationship with Goffstown too, as Joanne said. We've been working together since I got here. Goffstown was one of the first projects that I worked on when I came to Extension, so.
And we actually were given a wrong date, I believe, about your completion time. I thought we were told it was December of '26.
That they have to be completed.
That's the
No, they have to be
correct
completed by December of '25,
No.
if I heard it.
26.
26. But
26.
when we put out the request for proposal, one of the conditions to bid on it was that the project will be completed by September 30th, 2026, because we don't want to run into any.
Well, what did you say had
Yeah,
to
you
be
want that last
completed
pay
by
rack submitted
December
so
of
you can-
2025? Did
I
you-
don't believe I
didn't
said,
say
I must have misheard.
December 2024
I'm
was a
fine.
big deadline.
Yeah, the obligation.
Yeah.
And the final check has to be paid by the December of 2026.
Last nail in the building, and they,
Well, you'll make that deadline. I don't see a problem making that deadline. You're getting started right away.
I hope so.
As long as your contractor has subcontractors, that's all you need.
They
Was
do-
this
they do some-
contractor the one that did the renovation before?
So we actually are engaged exclusively with Veterans Development Corporation, but they on the outside, so the agreement between the county and the
And them.
vendor is just them. But they are partnering up with Brookstone Builders.
Did Brookstone
who
do it
did the
before?
2004
That's what I thought.
renovation. Yes.
I saw the name on one of the documents and I'm like, I think they were the ones who ran the job the last time.
Brookstone also did the library here, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the library was after, I think,
It's been a while
it's
now,
been a while,
when they
both of
put
them
the
have been a
elevator
while,
in.
both of them have been a
Yeah,
while,
and
but
with
yeah, I
the-
thought it
Yeah.
was the same contractor, okay.
All right, we'll look forward to seeing the building torn down.
They're eager to go, as we are, so.
Could you do us a favor and open a Facebook page devoted to what you're doing? Because as soon as it happens, it will be alive on social media.
I heard about that. I heard when we took the piggery down, there was some Facebook
And
activity.
you can barely see the piggery, so
Right.
this will be quite the thing.
Right, yeah, that building had a storied history, that's for sure.
Other than the people living in it were walking off the rail trail.
Yes, we had frequently had the sheriff's office in that building, yes.
Wow. Remember when it was a haunted house?
I
Or the
remember with
police
Goffstown
department.
PD. in
Oh, yeah, the
basement of
Goffstown
police
PD
station,
ran it.
that was
That was
good.
one
That
of
was
the
an
better haunted
amazing-
houses.
haunted house.
And your dad was chief.
Yeah, and they did it, I remember when they did it at the General Moore building,
That's
yeah, and I couldn't believe that back then, they had a giant hole in the floor, and just a flashlight, please don't step near there, it was like 2 seconds. Of course, they demolished it soon after, I'm like, I really should have been in there, but yeah, that was an incredible haunted house.
Okay, anything
Those
else
are
for
the
these
good old
gentlemen before we ask, really tell them they can get out of here?
And we did.
Board members,
Well said.
thank you for coming in.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you
for
for your
your time,
time. I
thank you
appreciate
so
it. Thank
much.
you very much.
Nice meeting you, Jack.
Take care.
There we go.
Only one more official day of vacation, Jack.
Oh, yes. I don't know what's in for store.
Weekends don't count.
That went by quick.
It always does.
Mine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.
Hey, Jack, tell your dad I said hi.
I will. He's coming back from Florida next week, so.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Set this up.
Yeah, I'll
Tell him
probably
it's
run
too
into him.
soon.
Yeah. It will be very soon. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you
Good
very
night.
much.
Thank you very much.
Take your night.
What's recommended rest of this meeting? Go home or do something else?
Well, we didn't tell you to bring your development regs.
Right.
Because it seemed like nobody really wanted to meet tonight. But Patty also said, why don't we wait until the board changes, which would only be one person, but at least we would start from the beginning with the new person there, so he has an opportunity to chime in. And we need to get him a copy of the development regs. Now, Scott and I have been making more suggestions as time goes on, so we will have, how do you want to handle that? We will have some changes to
Not
what you already
sure.
have.
Why don't you just make a list of recommended changes and have as an addendum item on the side on a
Okay.
separate sheet of paper,
Okay.
not included in the development regulations as you're gonna present them.
Okay.
And we can pull in shade, because there's some other items that have popped up about other things that you'd
Yeah.
like to possibly
Yeah,
pull in shade.
I have a copy going, like you mentioned the utilities the other day for underground utilities for subdivisions, where
Yeah,
it
we
should
need-
only be with a road.
We need to clarify the underground utilities
And then-
requirement.
And then like just this week, we have a new application coming that's off a New Boston Road. And I was just looking in the regs in the road section, and New Boston Road is not considered an arterial according to our development regulations, which the arterials have different rules on how the separations of driveways and entrances and everything. So I
It's
was
not
pretty.
an arterial road?
It is
I
not
think it
listed
needs
as
to be
one.
classified.
Yeah, so that
the main
and,
road
and
anywhere.
basically High Street / Patty Hill is also not listed as one. So those are two suggestions that I put in just this week.
And that's got to do with driveway separation distances?
And if you put a new road in, intersection separation, so
Oh, okay.
so that's the big part of it. I'd have to double check. There could be other things that it controls as well, but
We all need to try to think of when the development regulations as applied became problematic because they were either unclear or there was too much room for the applicant to interpret it, to say one thing and we say it says something else and it becomes a discussion item. It's almost got to be like an RSA is written, where it's black and white. If it doesn't say you can do it in the RSA, you can't do it. There's no interpretation involved.
yeah.
And we have those comments from Tim Lavoy at the fire department.
Oh yeah, the cistern stuff.
Yeah, and he made a few other changes
Okay.
to some things, so
Mhm.
we'll give you all of that when we pick a date, because
Can-
we're busy right now again. We have, the project Scott's talking about is another open space.
There's several open space projects, at least one that I know of coming forward. I've been reading about it I assume I've been reading about it in the Union Leader.
Well,
And
there's a
then
reason
there's
they're
another-
coming forward,
And
which
there's
is
another
why I
one, I
wanted
believe,
to
on Route 13
eliminate
coming
the-
forward.
Right.
Oh, really?
New Boston Road.
Oh, that's the one Scott
That's
just
the one,
mentioned,
yeah.
yeah.
Lost on that one.
Um,
Question on a future meeting. Joanne, did we have a discussion about putting Bog Road first on the agenda next time?
I think we did.
And I'm just looking at it here and I want to make sure it happens on the notice.
Oh, yeah, I'll have to tell Patty that.
Do
Thanks
we have
for the
someone coming back
reminder.
for that meeting from the last meeting?
Yes, and it was pretty procedural and I wanted to make sure it got
And
put
who's
on
coming
before Acorn Drive.
Who's
Bog-
coming?
Bog Road, the two-lot subdivision.
Yeah, remember the one that had the funky driveways that had to fix the driveways?
But I thought we had another applicant that we
It's Acorn Drive, so I didn't want them, they had a fairly straight,
No, a different one that we had something small to take care of. Let me look at my notes while you're talking.
so it was a fairly straightforward fix the
Yeah.
driveway, as much as you might have an issue with the subdivision, because they got the variances, so,
That was Matt Peterson, Tim.
right.
I
And
can't
so,
think of anything else we have open really right now.
I'm just looking, maybe that's the one, the Bog Road one was.
so just make sure she notices that first, because they should be, and he had to wait all last night, a long time to
Yeah.
come for that, so,
And then on the 27th is the New Boston Road one.
okay.
And so I
Yeah.
suggested that we have a staff meeting because the plans are not great. And so.
Well, then if it's not complete, that's the
Don't-
recommendation.
So that's why I'm,
Recommend they're not ready for review.
well, that's why I'm recommending that we have a staff meeting with them. They may or may not go on for the 27th.
That's next Wednesday. We're gonna do it Wednesday, right? Next Wednesday.
Patty sent out an email today. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
think
anyone's
Wednesday.
answered. But, yeah, so we're gonna do that ahead of time because you wouldn't wanna see these plans the way they are.
Okay.
And there's no point in talking about the Manchester project, because that's not past zoning yet, so we'll wait till that gets past zoning before we talk about that.
We do not want to talk about that.
No, I'm just saying, it's not proper to talk about it.
Didn't they have a meeting?
They,
Oh, no, it's next week. Yeah, it's
the
next
meeting they
week.
had, supposed to have it, I was down here for a sewer commissioners meeting, and they were all, folks were all lined up in the hallway, and they wanted, they were being told that they weren't gonna be
Yeah,
hearing it that
it's
night.
next week. Yeah, that's gonna be quite the meeting.
Anything else from our esteemed group?
Motion to adjourn.
Well, Tim, before we do, this is actually my last official planning board meeting as a
Right.
as a
I
select
didn't know
board
that, Collins.
representative.
Oh, that's right.
Um,
That's right.
So it's.
Well, I'm
been-
sorry for not including you in
That's
the
all right.
accolades. I didn't know you weren't in
No,
your
I'll
seat.
take it. But it's been great. I mean, planning's been in my blood my whole professional career. I started out at the Corps of Engineers at the federal level in the planning division. And as you know, at DES at the state level and here at the local level, I've seen this planning board go through many different phases and phases over the years. And it's been great working with people, so.
And thank you very much, and we
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
your
thank
input,
you.
always.
You're welcome.
We always look to
Yeah,
you
same here.
for DES and conservation
We're,
issues.
we're still down an alternate.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
I've already put in one volunteer application.
Okay.
Alice, the
So-
empty seat is right here.
I know.
So Collis, when the Open Space Committee comes back with recommendations, I trust you'll come in and speak as a member of the public when the time comes on the recommended changes to the open space
Yeah.
regulations? I appreciate that.
Sure.
Did you say that you had a date for the first meeting?
Well, I need to email Colleen because I don't want to send it out until I
Okay.
know it's okay with her. That's why I brought my book. I thought, you sent the email saying two people, somebody did, and it just didn't register that one of them was Colleen. Okay,
And so Phil made the motion, I hadn't heard a second.
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 Brian Mazer.
Oh, Brian, and Brian, the
last-
second,
the last-
last
Brian's
meeting.
last official act as a planning board member is to get the hell out of here.
I learned a lot. It was a good time.
Oh,
All right.
glad
Yeah.
you.
Is there any discussion of the motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Seeing none, all those in favor say
Aye.
aye. Aye, opposed, abstention, motion passes. Thank you, GTV, we are adjourned.